Okay, today is a remote learning day, so we are going to do a short video. You should have your notes packet number 1 out, okay? And we'll take a few notes and then you can get some practice in, okay? We are going to turn to page, let's see, we're going to turn to page 16, okay? So I'll give you a second there to get in the right spot and get these all situated. And today we are going to be doing lesson 1.1, solving simple equations. Now, just something to keep in mind. I know everybody loves abbreviations, so my abbreviation for equations is EQ. You'll see that I use that a lot, okay? I can write and solve one variable multi-step equations with rational number coefficients, okay? So you may have learned this with Mr. Robert or Mr. Harris last year, but the golden rule of algebra that you always need to remember is what you do on one side of the equal sign, you must also do on the other side of the equal sign, okay? So what you do on one side of the equal sign, comma, you must do on the other side of equal sign, okay? So that's a really important rule that I want you guys to always remember when you're solving either simple or multi-step equations, that if you do it to one side, you've got to do it to the other, okay? And let's quickly do a review of our inverse operations. The inverse of addition, you should all know this, is subtraction, and vice versa. The inverse of multiplication is going to be division, okay? And the inverse of powers, or we can call them exponents, if you will, is going to be roots, okay? What I mean by that is if you have something like 3 squared, okay? Inverse would be the square root of 9, because the square root of 9 gets you back to 3, okay? One other item for review is what is a reciprocal, okay, in math. This is super important, okay? The product of, I can't spell today, the product of any number and its reciprocal equals positive 1, okay? Make sure you put that positive sign there. So for example, in 8th grade, wait, before we do that, we say we flip, okay? So the reciprocal is we flip it. So for example, if we have 2/7, the reciprocal is going to be, and you flip it, is 7/2, okay? And if you multiply those together, you could cross simplify, but we'll just show you 2 times 7 is 14, 7 times 2 is 14, simplifies to a positive 1, okay? Maybe we have something that always messes people up. If we have something like 6, okay, there's always, you can always put a number over 1, right? So the reciprocal of 6 would actually be 1/6, which equals 6 over 6, which equals a positive 1, okay? Say you have, I meant to switch colors there. Let's say you have a negative 14 over 17, okay? Reciprocal, remember in 8th grade, we think of reciprocal as flipping it. So the reciprocal is going to be negative 17 over 14, okay? Cross cancel, negative times a negative is a positive, and you're going to get a positive 1, okay? So that's our little bit of review. Now if we flip over to page 17, oops, see, I am on the wrong page, okay? Let's get this over here. Okay, so again, we're on page 17. Okay, example 1, x equals 4/9 plus 2/27. Some little notes. To add or subtract fractions, we always need, and this is super important, a common denominator. Denominator, okay? Always look at your final answer. Make sure it is in simplest form, reduce and convert improper, or top-heavy fractions to mixed numbers. And when I say improper or top-heavy fractions, that means when the top number or the numerator is larger than the denominator on bottom. Okay, so here we have something simple, 4/9 plus 2/27. We need to get a common denominator. Let's see, 9 and 27 Okay, well, we know we need to multiply both the top and bottom by 3, okay? And that's going to give me, let's see, what? X equals 12 over 27 plus 2 over 27. That's going to give me X equals 14 over 27. Okay, make sure you always put that X equals, variable equals. It's really important. You don't want to lose points on that. Okay, now let's see. Number 2, W plus 5/9 equals 5/4. Okay, the key thing here is that you want to isolate the variable. Okay, that's what we're doing. We're solving for W. And you can see here that we have 5/9, right? W plus 5/9 equals 5/4. I hope you recognize and remember from 7th grade that in order to get that W by itself, well, we added here, so the inverse of adding is subtracting. And the golden rule says if you do it to one side, you have to do it to both, okay? So W equals, we've got a 5/4 minus 5/9. I left a little space because we need to get a common denominator, okay? And I can see at 4 and 9, the common denominator is going to be 36. So I'm multiplying top and bottom by 9 over 9, 9 over 9, and I'm going to get W equals, what is that? That's supposed to be a 9. You can't read my handwriting. 45 over 36 minus 20. Mrs. Quintos, I hope, big mistake on my part. I just said 9 over there. That's not going to give me 36. I needed to make that a 4. I apologize, okay? So that's going to give me 20 over 36, which is going to then, in fact, give me 25 over 36. W equals, in simplest form, we're good, okay? Go ahead and circle that. Now, over here, I said suppose number 2, the answer is 15 over 36. Okay, that's just a hypothetical. If you have 15 over 36, you just make sure that you get it in simplest form, okay? So you divide both top and bottom, what? Let's see, that'd be 3, and you're going to get 5/12, okay? That's just a hypothetical. Okay, problem 3. 3/8 times 7/21 equals y. Few little notes on multiplying. When multiplying fractions, try to cross cancel. It's going to make your lives easier first, and then like I said, it makes the math much easier. Again, always look at your final answer. Make sure it's in simplest form. And like I said above, and variable equals the number, okay? 3/8 times 7/21. This way, 8 and 7, no, I can't simplify or cross cancel. This way, oh, they're both divisible by, what, 3? I can make that a 1. I can make that a 7. Okay, oh, and look at what else I can do. And I hope you learned this last year. Not only can you cross cancel, you can cancel top to bottom. So we have a 7 and a 7. Well, that becomes 1, and that becomes 1. So we are actually left with y equals 1 times 1 is 1, 8 times 1 is 1, y equals 1/8. Okay? Flipping on over to page 18. Okay? Now we're going to talk about division. Okay? And, sorry, I'm on my wrong page. Oh, yeah. When dividing fractions, what are we doing here? Multiply by the reciprocal. Okay? You probably learned it. Keep, change, flip, right? There's a little song you may have learned. Make the number into an improper fraction first. Fraction, okay? As needed. Okay, so negative 1/9 ninths divided by negative 8 equals m. Okay, so we need to keep, change, flip because that's a division problem. So we have negative 1/9. We're going to change our division to multiplication. And we know that that negative 8, you can always put any number over 1. So the reciprocal is going to be what? Negative 1 over 8. Okay, no cross canceling now. You always wait to cross cancel till you turn it into a multiplication problem. A negative times a negative is a positive. We are going to get 1 over 72. Make sure you put variable equals first. Okay, number 5. Let's do a few more problems here. These are good ones because z plus 3/8 equals 5/12. Okay, again, we're trying to isolate the variable. Okay, so we're going to have z plus 3/8 equals 5/12. I hope you see that you're adding, so you want to do the inverse operation, which is subtraction. Minus 3/8 minus 3/8. Okay, we're going to get z equals 5/12 minus 3/8 We need to find a common denominator. I hope you recognize what that's going to be 24. So I'll multiply this by 2 over 2. I'll multiply this by, let's see, that's going to be 3 over 3. Okay, that's going to give me z equals 10 over 12. 10 over 24. Simple math, can't do it. 9 over 24. 10 minus 9 is 1. Z equals 1/24. Okay? Well, going over to 6. 6 is not so bad. C equals 5/9 times 7/15. It's a multiplication problem. The variable's already isolated, so we just need to do the math here. We can cross cancel. That's a 1, that's a 3. Can't go 7 and 9, can't go up and down. I'm good. C equals 1 times 7 is 7. 9 times 3 is 27. Okay? Couple more examples here. I like number 7 in particular. 4/9 t equals 24. Okay? I hope you see, again, we have to isolate the variable. Okay? That is a multiplication problem. 4/9 times t. In order to get that t by itself, we need to divide by 4/9. Okay, so I'm going to say divide by 4/9. I put a little arrow because we have to do it to both sides. Okay, so always write it out horizontally. You've got 24 divided by 4/9. Now, I hope you remember from up here, this is when you have a dividing fraction, you have to multiply the reciprocal, which is the same as keep, change, flip. So we're going to do t equals 24 times, flip it, 9 over 4. Now, if you want, I always put it over 1. I don't know, I think that helps. We're going to cross cancel. You can see that becomes 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 24 divided by 4 is 6. No more cross canceling possible. 6 times 9 is 54 over 1. But then when you write your final answer, we don't need that 1 anymore. So we're going to say t equals 54. Okay? Now, number 8 is super tricky. Okay? So pay close attention. We've got p minus 8 divided by 1/2 equals -3. Okay? You can do this a couple different ways. What I always kind of like to do, well, you know what? Let's just do it this way. Okay? Order of operations, we need to simplify this. We've got -8 divided by 1/2. P minus 8. And we can see it's dividing by a fraction, so we're going to keep, change, flip. 2 over 1 equals -3. 8 times 2 is 16. So we've got p minus 16 equals -3. Okay, I hope you see that this is subtraction. We need to isolate the variable. To get rid of that -16, we need to add. We do the inverse. And if you do it to one side, you got to do it to the other. So we get p equals what? -3 plus 16 is going to be 13. Okay, not so bad. What else do we got here? I'm just looking ahead to see what else I want to get through today. Let's turn on to page 19. Okay, and I think we're just going to do a couple more problems, okay, that I want to highlight. 9 and 10. This is a little tricky, but really not that hard. 6 pi equals pi x, okay? You are trying to find, or you're trying to solve for x, okay? Remember, you're solving for x. You're isolating the variable. Well, what's in the way of that variable? The pi, right? Pi is just a number, okay? Just imagine it were a 3. What would you do? You'd divide by 3. So this is pi. You're multiplying, so we need to do the inverse, which is divide by pi. And if you do something to one side, you got to do it to the other, okay? Cancel. You're left with x equals 6. It's actually not that difficult. And also make sure you always put your x first, okay? I don't want to see 6 equals x. That's not bad math. Just like you wouldn't put a period at the beginning of the sentence, you don't put a variable at the end, okay? You always start with the variable. Okay, remember here, this is different because we have an absolute value sign. And you should remember, I think you did this in 6th grade even. Absolute value is the distance from 0 on a number line, okay? So here, the absolute value of -10, well, it's 10 units away, or if you have the absolute value of negative, it becomes positive. The absolute value of anything actually ends up becoming positive. So you're going to have q minus the absolute value of -10 is a positive 10, so we're going to drop that to 10. That equals 2. Okay, now it's just a simple, easy equation. Inverse of -10 plus 10, do it to both sides. Q equals what? 12. And there you have it, okay? We are going to skip the rest of these for now. I do want to point out one thing on letter F, okay? Just, you can do these two ways. You can turn that into an improper fraction. Improper fraction. Or you can go ahead and just do it as mixed numbers. I don't care. It's whatever way you learn best in 6th and 7th grade, okay? And I think we're in the home stretch. Let's see if there's anything else. I think we are good for today. Okay, so you can go ahead and start on your homework problems.